Good evening. I'll call the meeting to order at this time. I'll ask Mayor Pro Tem Scott if he will lead us in the invocation. If you will, please remain standing for the pledge.
Thank you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, we come tonight to do business for our community, Lord, and make decisions that affect the prosperity and the success of the people that live here and the people that work here. Father, we have a special prayer, Lord, that you'll be with those that visit our town this week during our annual festival. Keep all those safe and have for joyful weather and attendance. Father, we ask all this in your holy name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Stevens will not be here tonight, gentlemen. We do have a couple of known changes to the agenda. One is to add a closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143.318-11, Section 83, to consult with our attorney on a legal matter. And then add to the consent agenda item 9, which is a special event. Councilman Marlon Lee is requesting to allow amplified sound for community pickup softball, baseball, kickball games at Smith Collins Park, Saturdays or Sundays from now through September, between the hours of 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. We have another item that's requested to be added to the consent agenda. It's item number 10, special event. Heidi Rittenhouse, corner of Heidi's Two-Wheel Cafe, is seeking approval of a temporary use permit to have Jim Quick and the Coastline Band business at 1475 West Market Street on May the 13th. Amplified sound is requested from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then the next item is consent agenda item number 11. Consideration and approval to renew the memorandum of understanding with the East Smithfield Improvement Organization to utilize the concession stand at Smith Collins Park. And I'd spoken at our last budget meeting about possibly adding a budget session to tonight, but we're okay, we will not do that. We will not add that to at this time. Plenty of time at the end of this session. We want to knock out one or two. We can certainly do so at that time. Any other changes or amendments to the agenda?
Mayor, I would like to remove business item number 1, amendments to the DSDC bylaws, in order for the council to obtain more information and a better understanding of the issues.
So if so remove business item 1, right? Okay. Any other changes? If not, do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the added items and the removal of business item number 1?
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. This time we'll move on to our presentations for the evening. I'll ask Captain Grady and Chief Powell if they will come to the front and for the presentation of the Officer of the Year. You want to take it?
I'll read it. How about that?
All right. Captain, go ahead, sir.
All right. Thank y'all for being here tonight. I wanted to congratulate Officer Wheeler for being the Officer of the Year. for 2017. This award is awarded to the officer who shows great professionalism, community service, and dedication to the police department and the citizens of Smithfield. The Officer of the Year is voted on by all members of the police department, both civilian and police officers. They pretty much vote anonymously, and then the supervisors then in turn take the top votes and then make a determination who deserves the award the most, based on a pre-selected guideline. Officer Wheeler holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice studies from Mount Olive College. He has attained his advanced law enforcement certificate, and he's been with the Smithfield Police Department for 8 years, and he's currently with the Support Services Division. So let's please all congratulate him on receiving
And our Officer of the Year held the door for me as I came in the meeting tonight. What a gentleman. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr.
Even though Officer Wheeler knocked down my nameplate, I would like to say that he is probably one of the finest and most conscientious officers I've ever had the pleasure to work with in my 30 years of law enforcement. So he does a great job for the community. He always goes the extra mile, and I think this is a great award for him. Definitely deserved.
Congratulations. All right.
Have your indulgence. I'll read the little thing while
All right.
you present.
Okay. All right,
Over there.
you've got
You hold it
something
to
to
Rodney and
present.
I'll read it.
All right, you go right ahead.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to present the Reliable Public Power Provider, or RP3, which is a program. It's a national designation given by the American Public Power Association. Currently, there are 243 of the nation's more than 2,000 public power utilities to hold any kind of designation, recognizing these utilities for providing communities with the highest degree of reliable and safe electric service. The designation recognizes community-owned, not-for-profit public power utilities that exhibit operational excellence and demonstrate leading practices in the 4 distinct areas of system reliability, safety, workforce development, and system improvement. Through the RP3 program, utilities have a chance to learn, grow, and improve, as well as serve as an example for others striving for excellence. This is not a rubber stamp program. Designees complete a demanding application over the course of several months. Applications are reviewed by an 18-member panel comprising national utility experts in safety, transmission distribution, and system planning. Applicants must meet a minimum score to even be granted a designation. The RP3 designation will last for 3 years, starting April 30th, yesterday, and running through April 30th of 2021. With an earned score of 97 points out of a possible 100, the town of Smithfield was designated Platinum Community. Congratulations to the electric utility for this accomplishment.
Thank you, Ted and Rodney. That's a great accomplishment. Thank you very much. So we do have a couple of public hearings this evening, and both of these are quasi-judicial public hearings, so I will ask that anyone that's wishing to speak on the matter, please stand and face the clerk at this time. Anyone that's wanting to speak for or against either one of the public hearings, if you will, please stand now and be sworn in by the clerk.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You can be seated.
Our first public hearing is SUP-18-04. The applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow for a tattoo studio on property located within an E3 zoning district. The property considered for approval is located on the southeast side of the intersection of Venture Drive and Peden Road and further identified as Johnston County Tax ID 15L11008B. This time, gentlemen, entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Okay. Turn it over to the planning director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This first item is the applicants are Zach Rabil and Matt Wilkins. Thank you. May not need it, but that's okay. They would like to operate a tattoo business on the property mentioned by the mayor. Tattoo parlors are a special use permit, so that is why this item is before us tonight. It's a 1.29 acre parcel in the B3 zoning district. This is the site of the former hookah shop, so it's a new business in a location that was previously occupied. Located here in the B3 zoning district. So this is the building. It's Venture Plaza, again located on Peden and Venture Drive. So tattoo establishments, as I said, require a special use permit. There are no performance standards in the UDO, so the special use permit is really an opportunity for the public to comment on it. And being the type of business it is, it's really an opportunity to condition it if there are issues that are anticipated because of its surroundings, location in the surroundings. This particular site is adequate parking. It conforms to the landscaping as currently landscaped, and the site is well maintained. It's a very nice property. The applicant has not indicated they're having any signs at this time, but a sign permit is required for any new business signs. That's a separate permit process. Staff has included findings of fact for this. We are not recommending any specific conditions. And so with that, I'm not going to read through the findings of fact unless you ask me to. The planning department is recommending approval of the special use permit with no conditions. And we're asking the town council to review the request, hold the public hearing, and make a decision with the findings of fact in support of the decision.
Thank you, sir. Does the applicant have any other information that they would like to share at this time? Okay. Do you agree with what our planning director has stated? All right. Any questions for or against this matter? Anyone else? Seeing none, okay. Any questions from the council?
Yeah, I have one question. And the applicant may can address it. What's your planned business hours roughly? Do you have it?
Can you step up to the microphone?
Yes, please. Please come to the front.
We actually were planning, I think, between, was it 8 and 11? Or, no, excuse me, 11 to 8? Excuse me, 11 to 8. We normally do a 12 to 9, but I've got a family, so I'm trying to pertain to my family a little bit. So.
Can that be 7 days a week or?
Oh, we'll be closed on Sundays. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
A motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries.
I move we approve findings of fact 1 through 8 as set forth on pages 9 and 10.
Second.
I move we approve the request with no conditions.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the findings of fact as well as approve the request.
Aye. Congratulations.
Their next public hearing is, excuse me, SUP-1805, Classic Touch Automobile Sales. The applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow for an automobile sales lot on property located within a B3 zoning district. The property considered for approval is located on the east side of Computer Drive, approximately 250 feet northeast of its intersection with Fairway Drive, further identified as Johnston County Tax ID 150990061. Time, entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I move we, go ahead.
Make a motion, we open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Open.
Okay, Mayor and Council. So this is a special use permit for an auto dealership. The applicant is Danny Muad. He's the owner of the property at 100 Computer Drive. The site is currently, there's currently an auto repair business that occupies the site. It's a former car wash site. 2 of the car wash bays were converted into an office a number of years ago with a small addition on the back. At this time, Mr. Muad would like to not continue with auto repair, and he has trying to develop a car business, and he's required to have an office space. And so we'd like to convert this into an auto dealership on the site. It's a 0.4 acre site, a very small site in the B3 Highway Business District. And it's located across the street from Saul's Automotive, and there's a gas station also on the corner, kind of a storage building on the other side. So it's really in a kind of an auto-oriented zone with no real neighbors besides some residential behind the site, and there's a large stream located behind the site as well. So this is the location. The stream cuts across in this direction back here. It's a large, kind of a large ditch in a sense. This is a storage building, Saul's Motors, and 3G Mart, and then the residential neighborhood located here. So this is the site plan for the site. Just want to point out, so this is the car wash. There's 4 car wash bays. These 2 were converted into an office and garage for the auto repair with a kind of an office space or something back here. This is trash corral. It's currently really a car topper or a truck topper. That you can close the gate to keep the garbage inside. So it's not a traditional storage. He's shown a handicap stall and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stalls dedicated for the car business. And there's 2 parking stalls located in the remaining car wash bays. That would be employee parking and or guest parking, plus the handicap stall. So nonconformities are probably the biggest issue with this site. The site obviously doesn't have a real trash enclosure. Not that a car dealership is going to be a big trash creator. Probably much less so than the current use. The landscape yards, obviously there's no landscape yards. The current parking lot exists 4 feet beyond the existing curb. So the parking lot is encroaching into the right-of-way, and it has for the last probably 20, 30 years. He's not changing any of that, so it's existing conditions. He is exempt from bringing the site into conformity with the UDO because he's not really changing anything. He's not adding parking. There's no triggers to bring the site into conformity. Staff doesn't believe there would be any additional impact on health or safety or welfare. It's not the change in the use is probably going to be less impactful than the auto repair was. There is an existing vacuum island I'll go back here. There's an existing vacuum island in this location between these two car wash bays that is within the drive lane of these two driveways, and that will have to be removed in order to implement this plan. So that has been made a condition of approval. I'm not going to go read through the findings of fact unless you ask me to. The only other condition we have is that the car sales be limited to the 5 stalls shown on the site plan, and the additional parking up to 8 for 8 total to include the staff and guest parking. So a total of 8 parking stalls, 5 designated for auto sales. And with that, I'll take any questions you have. Staff is recommending approval then with those 2 conditions.
Stephen, if the council approves this request, what is the town's recourse if the code enforcement officer goes out there and there are 27 cars parked on that lot?
That's a violation of the conditional use permit, and staff can come before the council and ask approval to remove or revoke the conditional use permit, and then the applicant will lose his business.
But that process would take how long? Several months?
Several months.
Has the council ever done that before?
I cannot answer that
Well,
question.
you've not been here.
I was not here. But that is a normal process. Conditional use permits run with the property, so, once this site is permitted as auto repair, it can continue, auto sales, it can continue as auto sales as long as it doesn't discontinue for, I think it's 180 days.
Town staff has in the past sent car dealers letters with civil penalties, or warnings that they would do that. I don't ever remember one trying to revoke the permit.
I don't think you can get 27 cars in that lot anyway.
Well,
It's a very small lot.
So I think 5's gonna push it. So I don't think you're gonna have that problem. You start parking them in the road, that's all I can say. I don't think that's an issue.
well, the point is, we have come before us all the time, we all get contacted by citizens for businesses in violation. So the 27 cars was sort of tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
But
I have one concern, it's just not necessarily about this particular car lot, but I have seen some recently around town, car lots, where they, at night or after hours, they block the entrances to those lots with parked cars. And to me, that's I went by one the other day, and it was blocked, and then there was a car parked in front of those with about 4 inches of the car sticking out in the middle of Highway 301, and I almost hit the car. So to me, that's a danger. Consider, but I think we're probably, Mr. Manager, do we already have things in place that should prevent that, or do we need to make that type of conditions?
Yeah, we've looked at those issues, and we looked at it recently, especially this one particular car lot that you were talking about. And Fire Chief and I discussed it, and it is a fire code violation. We have had fire inspectors out there, and we've talked to them about what they can and can't do. They have to allow room to get a fire truck in there. They can't just block off the entire entrance. And since that point, it's my understanding that they've moved the vehicles back, and they've allowed that distance that's needed for a fire truck, which eliminates the possibility of a car parking in there like what you had seen. So we are handling it that way right now.
So you don't think there's any need to put any?
In this case, Computer Drive is a really lightly traveled street, so I don't think those problems would be an issue here also.
Any other questions from the council?
Mayor, I do have an additional question. We've had some problems in that area with junk cars and such. Have you talked with the applicant about that? He doesn't plan to have any disabled vehicles
He does not. He is gonna discontinue the auto repair business, is what he said. I mean, that is auto repair is a permitted business in the district, so, you know, that is a use that is allowed. But he has not indicated any interest in continuing that business. Typically, you end up, when they do auto repair in conjunction with auto sales, is when you end up with the junk cars. And this site doesn't really have any space for storage of junk cars. And we're limiting it with this condition, the second condition, there's no space because we're putting a condition on it that's limited to 8 stalls total.
So that raises a question there. You said that car repairs by use.
It's a permitted use
Permitted
in the
by
district.
permitted use. Since this is a special use permit, could we put a condition on it?
You could put a condition that, because the site isn't conducive for both, that it's just for auto sales. Or as long as the auto sales are there, the auto repair cannot be there as well.
Well, we've had that issue come up recently with another lot here in town, where it was necessary for the sales lot to be able to do some minor repairs, adjustments, or whatever to the cars that were being sold, be it change the oil or, you know, so you're saying he wouldn't be able to do that?
If you put a condition saying he could not, he could get those repairs done somewhere else, not necessarily on this site.
But if we don't put the condition, he could work on the cars he's selling.
Yeah,
Get them ready for sale.
he could.
Okay.
I mean, typically, when you're dealing with, you know, more of a used car business, they buy them at auction, sometimes they have some issues, they need to fix a few things,
Right.
and they'll do it in-house to save money. And
Yeah. Okay.
But I didn't get any indication from Mr. Moad that that's the practice he's going to pursue. But the applicant is here tonight, so he can speak to that matter.
Well, unless we want to ask the owner, the applicant. If you can get through with Stephen first.
So, if you'll come to the front. If you've got any other information you'd like to share, please do it, sir.
Yes. The space is not big enough, it's not big enough to have anything but the 5 cars. And that's what we need it for the licensing and be able to sell the cars there legally. I'm not looking to dismantle any cars or have junk cars, just for the simple fact is, if I have the 5 cars, the next thing I'm gonna dismantle the cars in the middle of the parking lot, which is gonna look ridiculous. And it just is not gonna look right in the eye of the public anyway. And you wanna have a clean place to begin with, because you don't want a customer coming in to look at a car and you have a junk car next to it. It does not look right.
Well, but you certainly understand the council's concern, or one concern that's been raised. We do have a car lot, particularly in that area,
Yeah, there is plenty of car lots
that
in
has
the area
cars for
that's
sale, and never would have thought that we would have junk cars sitting on the lot there.
on the lot, yeah.
And we've had it.
Yeah.
And we've had to deal with it.
Yeah,
right?
I'm with
And
you that 100%.
We've had a lot of complaints
Yeah,
about it.
the only thing I don't know why they don't think about it is the place looks ridiculous and ugly, and how are they gonna sell cars? You know, because the customer doesn't have the confidence if he comes in and you're selling him a $7,000-8,000 car and there's a junk car right next to it, you know, or a stripped car or a trash car inside the shop. They don't have the confidence. I don't know how they're doing that. I don't know how they're selling or functioning like this. But it's not a way to, you know, for normal business to function.
The question I have is,
Yes, sir.
if I was in the car business, like you're fixing to be maybe, and I bought a car and I needed to change the oil or the transmission fluid or whatever before I put a for sale sign on it, is that something you're gonna need to do? And number 2, is that site suitable to do that? Do you
Yes,
have?
there is a bay enclosed for that. No work will be done outside of
Okay.
the bay.
Right.
There is an actual bay with legal tanks and all this legal stuff in
Okay.
place, with the EPA and all that stuff.
That was all I had.
So you're planning on working on your own cars, but not somebody else's cars, is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
but only light work, no.
Right, but
Like
I'm saying
nobody
you're not,
work.
you're not running today, that's correct. So today, you're running a car repair out of that place, correct?
Yes, sir.
The question is, are you gonna cease the repair of other people's vehicles and only work on the, you know, these that you need to do to bring them up to speed?
Yes, sir.
Which to
There's
me
gonna
would be
be
reasonable.
no public
but-
work.
Okay. That's the question. Yeah, prep work, which is, of course.
Any other questions for that at this time?
Well, are you okay with, you already said it, you're okay with removing the vacuum cleaner out of the
I'm
island?
sorry about that. That has been removed.
Okay.
That has been removed.
Let me say, I live in that neighborhood, not exactly, but close to it. And, I appreciate anybody doing anything to make it look better over there.
Yes, sir.
And, there's not a lot of traffic down there except for the gymnastics down there on that end of the street. There's not
I
much
live by
going
the
on.
airport myself, so I would like the area to be clean. It's not like I live outside. I live by the airport, Swift Creek Road, so.
Yeah,
So, you know, you don't want to live in a bad neighborhood, and you try to keep it up as much as you can, but
yep.
car dealers still give the business bad name. There is no doubt about that.
That property has fallen in disarray
Yeah.
in the years past, so I appreciate anything being done to it.
We try to maintain it as much as, you know, as much as we can to keep it up.
Very good.
Any other questions at this time?
I move we close the public hearing.
Hold on 1 second. So, you heard the testimony that was presented by the planning director. Do you agree with that
Yes, sir.
testimony?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak for or against this matter? Okay, seeing none?
I move we close the public hearing.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Pleasure of the council.
I move we approve it as written with the stipulation of not having outside auto sales. I mean, outside auto repair, that's what I meant. Outside auto repair on the building. Because you said we can put that in there, correct?
So a third condition,
Yeah,
and Mr. Muad would have to agree to that condition?
but he just
Yes.
said he wasn't planning on doing that, so I didn't think he had a problem with it.
The repair is going to be done in the designated bay.
Yeah, but again, on your vehicles, not somebody else's.
Yes,
That's-
yeah, definitely. There is no public work whatsoever.
I would also add that we approve findings of fact 1 through 8. If you'll let me add that to your motion.
Thank you.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve the findings of fact. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'll entertain a motion. Before we make a motion again to approve them.
Make a recommendation that we do finding of facts and we add those conditions.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve with the conditions
Second.
that were listed, right? and already in our agenda. A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Get that, Madam Clerk?
Congratulations to you too, sir.
Thank you very much. sir.
Good luck.
Appreciate it. At this time, we come to the point of the meeting for citizens' comments. Anyone who would like to speak, please come forward at this time and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, I'm Sarah Edwards from Downtown Smithfield Development. I just wanted to share really quickly that, first of all, the Ham and Yam Festival is this weekend. I hope to see all the council and the general public there as well. It's going to be a great day on Saturday. It'll get started Thursday night with the Kiwanis Ham and Yam Supper, Friday with the Ham and Yam Jam that raises money for the Johnston Community College Foundation, and then Saturday from 9 until 9:30. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I also, the town staff has really done a fantastic job of getting ready, so I appreciate all the work that has gone into that, for certain, and all the work that still will go into it. I also wanted to let you all know, hopefully you know by now, but to let everybody know as well, Smithfield is in the running, is a quarterfinalist for the America's Main Streets contest, which means that we could potentially win $25,000 to help with the continued revitalization of downtown. Voting is open until May 27th, and the top 10 vote getters will go on to the semifinals round, and then at that point it'll be decided by a panel of judges. So at this point what we're asking is that citizens of Smithfield and beyond vote once every 24 hours. You can do so at voteforsmithfield.com. It's literally one click. They ask for no information, very easy. But we think that our community is willing to And they've already proven that they have supported us enough to get us into the quarterfinals. So I would ask that y'all vote, the citizens vote. And you can also sign up for a daily email reminder if you need that push to keep voting on our Facebook page. It'll be on our website tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. No rain on Saturday, right? No rain. Anyone else wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the items that were added.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve. All in favor? Move on to business items this time. We'll move to business item number 2. It's found on page 115 in your agenda package. Consideration and approval to accept the Golden Leaf Foundation grant award and approve the proposed contract. Over to Ted.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, gentlemen, for letting me come tonight and speak to you this evening. The purpose of this presentation is to inform and update the council of the status of the Golden Leaf Foundation grant, which the town applied for in October of 2017. As you may recall, the Golden Leaf Foundation initiated a community-based grants-making initiative for the fiscal year of 2018. Seeing this as a great opportunity, the town of Smithfield submitted our application in hopes of securing funding. Our application was to assist in the construction of the 16-inch water line across the Neuse River along Durwood-Stevenson Highway. The project was already on the books as an approved capital improvement project, so the opportunity for this assistance was indeed fortunate. The good news is, after a lengthy process, the town submittal was approved by the Golden Leaf Board at their April meeting. So here's an aerial view as a reminder of what we were trying to accomplish, or what we are still trying to accomplish. The overall project, how it's broken up. Phase 1 is the red part. It's a 16-inch line that connects US 70 out by Mayflower all along the northern edge of Durwood-Stevenson to Wilson Mills Road, followed immediately by Phase 2, which will go from Wilson Mills Road across the swampy low-lying area across the river, connecting to what is now closed out as the Booker Dairy Road extension. So we will have a 16-inch line all the way from the Jones Brothers tank down Booker Dairy, all up Durwood-Stevenson, all the way to US 70, which would give us redundancy crossing the river. Currently, we only have one crossing of the river, which is behind the Little Brown Jug. So what did we actually get awarded? The grant aids is to help out with the financial assistance with the actual construction of Phase 1 of the project. The amount of the grant award was for $500,000, which was the maximum amount possible. Since this project was approved as part of the capital improvement plan and was already on the books this year, the survey and planning for this section of the water line has already been completed as part of this year's fiscal budget. And the contractor has been selected to assist with design, permitting, and bidding. The only real caveat with the grant funding is that we have 12 months to expend the funds, which we don't think would be a problem based here on the funding schedule. As you can see, as the grant was awarded in April, and we should get all our permits as the summer goes along. We only really need 3, public water supply, erosion control permit from the state, and the DOT encroachment. At that point, we can bid. The contractor will have 5 months to build, so this all fits nicely within the 12-month time plan. So staff is asking the council to accept the award, enter into the agreement with the Golden Leaf Foundation, and authorize the town manager to execute the contract with the selected consultant. And if you have any questions at this time, I'd be happy to entertain them.
Motion? Mr. Manager would like add something?
It's in your packet. Ted didn't mention it, but this grant is actually a $750,000 grant, with the town matching the $500,000 funds with $250,000 of its own money. I'll make sure that the council is aware of that. We have budgeted that in the draft budget for next year for that expenditure.
And that is a part of the water sewer budget,
It is,
not a part of the general fund.
correct.
I move we approve the request.
Second. Second.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That was our last business item. Coming to the point of the agenda for council members' comments. Anyone would like to share at this time?
I would, I guess, probably two requests. Number one is, if possible, we don't have to do it tonight, but within the next week, let's have some committee to meet with designated members of the DSDC to take a look at these bylaws and things like that, so we can gain a greater understanding of what's going on. And also, Mayor, I guess this is something that came up recently about extending the fence along, I don't even know the name of the road, but it's the white vinyl fence that the committee met and discussed and voted on that was installed, and there were some requests to extend that fence. Are we anywhere on that?
It was brought up, it was discussed here by Mr. Clancy.
Right.
No action was taken. I assumed we would talk about it during budget discussions, during Public Works budget.
If committee members have changed their position, though, or, positions always change when there are additional facts and circumstances, if we need to reconvene that committee, we can. I believe I was on that committee, Councilman Harris was on that committee, and then there were several citizens on it. Were you guys on that committee?
Mr. Nixon was on the
Yeah,
committee.
Tony was on it, and then
I have the list and all.
okay. Well, if we need to do that, I mean, we'll get the committee back on it.
So let's talk about that one in our budget session.
Okay.
But the DSDC, do you have anyone that's willing to serve on the committee to meet with the DSDC, bylaws and so forth?
I would be willing, I'm not so sure how much I'm gonna be willing during the budget season. It may be a month or so. Is there any urgency? Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I thought you'd originally said in the next week or so, so that's, I don't.
Well,
there's
assemble
not
the
a-
committee,
There's not,
assemble the
there's
committee.
not an urgency, especially with hand budget and so forth. We wait until we get through the budget. But if you're willing to do so, maybe two, if there's anyone else.
Mayor, I don't mind, sir.
Councilman Ashley, Mayor Pro Tem Scott, to serve on that committee, and we'll look at some timing and come up with some dates a few weeks from now that satisfies everybody. And
Who is the
work with
president
the
right
manager.
now of DSDC?
All right, good points, Councilman Ashley. Anything else, council members?
Just a couple of things. About 2 weeks ago, I had the honor and privilege to be sitting amongst two fellow Spartans who are in the house tonight. Our Mayor Amy Moore and also our Smithfield Group Organization, Tony Nixon, who were inducted into the first Smithfield Selma Hall of Fame. So just kudos to you all, being a Smithfield Selma graduate, a wonderful ceremony, and the next day was the Smithfield Selma Strong event that was held. Then just real quickly, growing up, I've always, from T-ball all the way up, to coaching this year, volleyball and basketball, I've always been around, pretty much championship teams or whatever. And my philosophy is, a championship team is going to be, they're greater than their weakest link. Person that probably can't shoot the best, can't serve the best, can't hit the best, but it's their weakest link. This is Team Smithfield. And Sunday I had a chance, I was over in South Smithfield at one of my buddy's house, Mr. Pete Bryant, throwing some cornholes and, having a good time, having a cookout or whatever. And, just after about an hour of being out there, it almost seemed like I wasn't in Smithfield. Being a resident from East Smithfield and, just visiting over South Smithfield, just the, demographics, everybody coming together, people waving, stopping, what are y'all doing, having a good time. And then, as I drove back home or whatever, I passed South Smithfield Elementary, and I know this Tuesday, we're gonna be having, the Walk to School Day. And really, as we're talking about the budget now, coming from East Smithfield, I go back to sports or whatever, I got elected as a team captain. We have districts over here that are team captains. The mayor, he's kind of serving as the coach. The manager, he's kind of serving as the general manager. We are only good as our weakest link. And, just riding around for a little bit in South Smithfield and knowing what I'm up against in East Smithfield, as we go through budget, Mr. Manager, GM, coach, elected officials, I call captains from the sports standpoint, this walk kind of made me almost feel like that at some point, we all need to take a walk in different areas of the town as we budget. I think that would be great. So everybody can kind of see, because if there was a survey, if there was a story to tell, somebody living in East Smithfield versus somebody in South Smithfield, it wouldn't be the same. And I saw that for myself. It's not the same. Over the last few days, I've been getting calls about police complaints. I didn't see a police ride nowhere in South Smithfield the other night. So just kind of a little food for thought as we go on, especially in this budget. I mean, we're going to be a team together. Everyone achieves more as we go through this budget. I look at Miss Lucy Washington out there. She's been attending these meetings for years. One of the biggest things she always comes and talk about, and they are in our public, they're in the records, is the infrastructure, the flooding that's on Burke Street. She comes, go back, she comes, she go back. Nothing has been done. So we're gonna do right for our citizens here. We're a team. I just ask, I think we can do a little better. We are in our budget now. If somebody comes in August, September, the first thing that's always told to them, we'll have to wait till budget time. We're in our budget season now. I just hope we'll be able to make some things right for everybody that's in Smithfield. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I got a few. First of all, I would like to say, we were, last Saturday, we went to Triple S Strong. It was a great event. I encourage everybody, several of us was there. It was really a great event. We appreciate the opportunity to meet and greet people. Also, then we went to the Smithfield Fire Station 2. Ribbon cutting was a great event for West Smithfield. Okay? I'm telling you, it was a great event for West Smithfield. We've been waiting for that for 20-some years. So 24 years to be exact. It's great too. It's a great facility, and we appreciate it much. While we were there, we had an opportunity to talk about a need that we've had for years, and everybody keeps asking about it, and we didn't feel like we're getting anywhere on it, and that was sidewalks on Wilson Mills Road. Because if you've ever gone down Wilson Mills Road, people are putting their lives in their hands when they're walking down Wilson Mills Road. We have a church down there called Soldiers of the Cross, and they have church on Saturdays. And some of them are not. Their beliefs are that they don't drive on Sunday. That's one of the things they don't do on their Sabbath day. And so people walking down the street, and it's kind of dangerous. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't had anybody killed on that road. So we did some evaluation, got involved. The town went and looked at it and talked to the DOT. And the truth is, there's nothing we can do about it. As much as we like to do, it's going to be difficult because we don't own the road. We don't own they only own between ditch to ditch. So we don't own land to make a sidewalk. Now, some people don't know me, think it's over with. It's not over with. We're going to try to figure out some other way. Because there's a need for a sidewalk on that street. So we're going to work on it. I'm letting you know. So if anybody out there listening from West Smithfield, they know we're working on it and working diligently to do that. Other things happening in West Smithfield, which is exciting. If you look, we got construction going on there. We got a new storage facility that is really changing the look over there at that intersection, isn't it? I mean, I'm going to look like when they're done, but it's a tremendous difference over there where the old Wendy's was at. We also have the new, was it Family Dollar? Dollar General. I get them confused. It's Dollar General that they're building. A lot of work being done on that, and we appreciate that being done. And there's lots of good things. We have a new car lot. We just got approved too, right? Tonight. So there's lots of good things going over in West Smithfield, and we appreciate people being involved. But one last thing I want to talk to you about is we still need a local newspaper. We've been trying to get the signatures on that, and we will have cards at Ham Yam Festival that they can fill out on the spot and drop in a box, or they can take the card home with a link to go to our survey online and sign up. I've got several people that have worked with the Smithfield Herald before who've already volunteered their time to help me to see what we can do, and already trying to make some connections with some other possible newspapers that might have capacity for us if someone wanted to do it. So keep the word out there, keep the spreading. We need a newspaper. So thank you much. Appreciate being involved.
Anyone else? Mr. Manager, I will turn it over to you for your monthly report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll only add a couple of things. Thanks to Councilman Lee for bringing up the Walk to School event. I wanted to go ahead and provide the times for that. That is on May 8th, and people will muster at Civitan Park at 7:45 and leave from there and walk down to, they'll end up walking down Crescent Drive and coming in the back of South Smithfield Elementary. So anyone who wants to be involved in that, I encourage you to show up there at that time and participate. At the Ham and Yam, we will have a booth there for town staff. If any of you are down there, feel free to stop by for a few moments, see how things are going. Our planning director will be there, along with Tim Kerrigan will be there. And we will also have people there from our engineers, from our comp plan, as well as our transportation plan, to discuss priorities of citizens regarding those two things. So please let all your citizens know that stop by that, talk to those people, and let them know their thoughts on planning, both for transportation and for comprehensive land use. Mr. Mayor, I believe our next budget meeting is tentatively scheduled for May 7th at 6 o'clock here at City Hall. If that's the case, I'd like to at least alert the media and everybody before we go into closed session so that they're aware of when our next budget meeting is. And that is all I have. I guess I would add one more thing if I can. Councilman Barber was just talking about good things happening in West Smithfield. I'll also add that Bella Square is out there on Barber Road building houses. The developer came in here last week, signed up for his permit to finish that out, 40 plus houses. He's selling them as fast as he can build them, so if you're interested in moving to Smithfield, you better get in line because there's a lot of people interested in those properties. Congratulations to him. That's a great addition to our community in West Smithfield as well.
That's true not only of the new homes, the market right now. Had a few more. The inventory around town was depleted, and we have a few more that's come on the market, but they're selling pretty quickly.
Sure.
And at higher than usual, at least in the last couple of years, square footage, price per square footage. So Good news. Good news. Okay, gentlemen, that is all that we have on the agenda. We have a motion to go into closed session.
So moved. You want me to recite it? I move we go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143.318-11, parentheses, little a, parentheses, 3, in parentheses, to consult with the town attorney on a legal matter.
Second. All in favor? Aye. We'll go into closed session at this time.